Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Healing Lounge. I am so excited to present today's guest, Michelle Cintron, co-founder of Las Vegas Yoga Therapy, a holistic healer, transformational coach, and sound practitioner with over 20 years of experience in guiding deep emotional and spiritual transformation. Michelle blends modalities like NLP, hypnotherapy, Reiki, and sound healing to help others reconnect with their purpose and inner power. Her journey, shaped by personal healing and a deep love for music, inspired the creation of Mystic Topaz Sound Journey, a soulful experience that combines vibration, energy, and body wisdom. She's here to share powerful insights on emotional intelligence, holistic wellness, and how to truly embody healing from the inside out. Michelle, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm like, who is he introducing? Wow, that sounds pretty fancy. Thank you for that very inspiring introduction. We chatted a little bit prior about what's a bio, right? And how do we really capture someone's essence on paper, pen, and through words when we're so multidimensional?
I agree with that. When it comes to, bios or introductions, there's just so much more. What I love about, the podcast itself, the Healing Lounge, is when we are talking and having conversations and expressing our own, beliefs and inspirations and all of the things that we do. That just kind of explains more of who you are. And it gives the viewers out there, everyone out there, the audience, a glimpse of your why. And I feel like that's very important. But yes, thank you again for being here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you for the invitation and for the Healing Lounge to want to highlight the work, right? We hear that so much in the community of spirituality, of transformation, emotional intelligence. We get to do our work if we really want to develop ourselves, expand who we are. You mentioned the why, which has been a motivating factor for me, really, since diving into the area of emotional intelligence, transformational work, and leadership development. And it's always about our why. When we connect to the why, the bane of our existence, our purpose here on the planet, oftentimes that is really authentic to us, right? We're as unique as a snowflake. We hear that often. And so our why is very unique to us. And we've all taken on this mission to be on the planet today, right here, right now, with a purpose in mind. And somehow a bulk of society gets distracted through things that are happening in our environment, in our relationships. And yet there's this higher soul, right? This higher self that it's not that we possess, because it's here, it's existent, it's infinite, and it takes us through many lifetimes when we're incarnating till we get to the point where we've gotten the mission underhand and we're accomplishing that. And so, back to the why, living life with purpose. And so my why is really to empower individuals who want to get into this space of, it's the existential talk, like, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is this life? Why did I choose this? And so getting people on track, a lot of people don't know what their purpose is. They think their purpose is their job title. And so they equate the two. And the job is a small component of who we're being in our lifetime. If we equated it just to the job title, then what happened to the 3-year-old version of us, the high schooler, the person who was married and maybe now divorced? And so we're very complex beings, and stripping away at these layers, this programming that we carry with us, whether conscious or unconscious, in our lives, we have often been told who to be, what to do. And as young children, we really didn't have any filters in place to say, well, I don't really agree with that. I mean, we could have for moments of time, and have those little tantrums and, I don't want to go to bed and I don't want to go to school, but we never really had a filter, a program to counteract anything that was being installed. And so whatever our parents taught us, whatever community leaders, church, education, whatever they fed us, we just open sponges. We were just taking it in. And then we get to adulthood, and perhaps you were programmed to be a doctor. There's many cultures where it's like, you're going to grow up, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an attorney, you're going to be an engineer, and you've just accepted that as face value, as your life's mission. And then you hear these individuals who get all the way through the law school, going for the PhD and becoming an attorney, and they're like, I don't even like what I'm doing. How did I get here? And they've spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this fancy education, and now they don't even want to do the thing. And so the why, what is the authentic why? Who are we really inside? What drives us? And oftentimes in neurolinguistic programming teachings and emotional intelligence, they say, go back to that child. Who were you authentically? What inspired you? What did you want to be when you wanted to grow up? Oftentimes there are hints in that experience as young children. And so again, bringing it back to present time, let's get individuals to connect with their why, to live life purposefully, because when you make that connection, it allows us to live a life that really yields a lot of joy, like excessive joy. And I've had to, kind of take out my own room and clean up and sweep away the dust and the dirt and really lose things that didn't serve me to connect really intrinsically into my why. And my life has just never been the same.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And there's so much to unpack there with that. But I did want to circle back on something, and thank you again for sharing that inspiration. Um, NLP in your bio says that you help people with tools like NLP. What is NLP?
Neurolinguistic programming, again, has to do with the programming, our filters. We see the world in a certain way, and we develop this filter based on our experiences. So in NLP, they teach, like, if I threw a million toothpicks in the air, how many can you catch? Maybe 100. Our brain is the same way. We are bombarded with information, and the information is incoming, and we retain a lot of it. A lot of it goes to our unconscious mind, gets stored back there. It's the computer. It carries all the memory. However, we filter for what's important to us, and that becomes, we use that information to create our reality. And so we're being bombarded with thoughts and images like throughout our day, thousands and thousands of that. We can't possibly take all that information in and do stuff with it. So we're going to filter for what's purposeful to us. And some of us are visual learners, and so we do that visually. Some are auditory. Others are, the feeling area. We have to feel it to receive it. And so we're just so many different types of learners, and we're running these filters all day long, every moment of our life. It is driving factors in who we are and how we show up in the world. And so if you're driving from a place of a wounded self because you've experienced severe trauma, you will find yourself in a loop where you are attracting the same situation over and over again, because you have develop some sort of self-defense mechanism, and yet you find comfort in being in this type of environment. So people who like drama, you ever notice they're always involved in drama? Either they're giving it, they're receiving it, and or both. It's because it's become their reality. It's what they're accustomed to. So at a very unconscious level, they seek to find spaces where there's drama, whether creating it and or receiving it. And so a lot of our programming, a lot of how we show up is based on a lot of unconscious behavior.
Well, thank you so much for that explanation. With your work with clients in NLP, have you noticed a specific time frame of when they get to a point where they just clear out some of these programs?
So I'm glad that you mentioned the clearing out, because there's a component of my training as a master practitioner that's called mental and emotional release work. And this is a breakthrough coaching session. And it allows for us to do some unconscious mind work and release work. And so this specific type of session takes anywhere from 5 to, I mean, it could go up to 20 hours, dependent on what the individual has going on in their life, how resistant to change they are. Our unconscious mind, we get to ask it for permission in every step of our transformation. And if it's no and it's not ready, we're not going to move the dial. And so trained in quantum linguistics to really get into the unconscious mind and allow the conscious brain to kind of step back and stop that defense and survival mechanism that it's trained to do is really a deep part of that work. And so, yes, it could happen in a session where you can really clear negative emotions, limiting beliefs. And it's not to say that you're going to be healed, because so long as we're having our human experience and we're having interactions with people and we are a product of our environment, we're always going to be open to experiencing something that is meant to provide us with a lesson. And yet we might get stuck in whether it's kind of blame mode or victim mindset, where it keeps us in the loop. So we can clear stuff. We can do timeline regression to go back to that initial cause of when I was 6 and I had this experience and my, I don't know, kindergarten teacher told me I was dumb, right? And now I have this belief system that I've adopted that I'm dumb, and I'm literally just barely passing all my classes throughout my entire life of education because I'm running this program of somebody who told me I was dumb. So there's a way to go back to that moment to clear that up. And then the most important thing is the reframe. How can we reframe this particular emotion that might be attached to it, this limiting belief, to empower us to say, this is not my reality. Why did I even accept this? Because I didn't have the filter to say, no, that's not true. And so release work is an important part of this. And this journey of healing, of going back and doing inner child work, it becomes lifelong work. There are seasons where we are working on one particular issue. Maybe it's rejection. Rejection really stings. It shows up in so many places of my life. Why am I unconsciously putting myself in these arenas where I'm consistently being rejected? How can I learn the lesson, reframe, empower myself, and then move on to the next lesson? Because this is life. And we are here to learn the lessons, to reap the benefits of healing, and then to constantly be in this journey of expansion.
Wow, yes, there's a lot that goes into that. And the releasing of the programs, yes, it varies, and it's definitely something, would you say it's something that you would recommend to everyone? And if so, what age group do you recommend or do you work with the most?
I find that I work with women mostly in the arena of like 30 plus to like 60s. I find that our tribe reflects our own healing journey. And so, of course, a lot of my things that I needed to clear through happened in my 50s and 50s. So it's no surprise that I'm working with women in this age group or coming out of that and wanting to find themselves. This work can be done seriously as young as like teenagers. I've been involved with emotional intelligence training for teenagers, which is super powerful because at that age, they don't have a lot of baggage, emotional wounding. And so it's easier for them to clear stuff. Whereas adults, we're more attached to our story. We take our wounds on as an identity, and we call that secondary gains. So I as a victim attached to this story of some sort of abuse, I get sympathy out of this from people, right? And so I can really expand my network of sympathy. I could even attract misery loves company and stay in this kind of loop of being in my wound. I've taken on this identity of this is who I am. And as a result, I yield all these outcomes that may not necessarily be beneficial. However, I'm now validating my experience as me. And so I live in this loop. So it's very complex. I'm a big promoter of this work, of doing unconscious mind work and the somatic work, because the body keeps score. And so as we incur all these wounds, they will find themselves stored in our bodies. So I think we need a healthy combination of both.
Thank you so much for that. Yes. And also, you do hypnotherapy.
Yes,
What is
love that.
hypnotherapy?
So hypnotherapy is really getting, again, once in the unconscious mind work, we're going to put people in a meditative state. And this allows for a lot of that reframing that I'm talking about. Now that we've done the mental and emotional release work, what kind of programming do we want to install? We've just scrubbed the program and now we get to insert something new. And so let's create empowering messages. Let's create the affirmations. Be in that space of clarity of your authentic being, of your why, your purpose, and let's really hone in there. And so we're able to do that in hypnotherapy. Oftentimes the person is responsible for writing their own script, and I will assist with that. And then we're literally programming this new thought, this new affirmation, this new way of thinking, this new way of being, because after the release work, they're on a different plane. They're seeing things through a different perspective. Now we've maybe removed this sense of victimhood. Now they're empowered and they're like, wait a minute, this incident really, first of all, it wasn't that serious, is usually what I find. They're like, are you kidding? I've been holding on to this for like 25 years. It's ruled my life. And in retrospect, it was really just a speck of an incident that occurred in my being. And I attached myself to it and I made myself righteous and I allowed it to identify me. I mean, it's kind of funny. For others, no, there are more serious impacts because they've suffered some serious effects, some traumatic incident, like sexual abuse sometimes is one of the harder ones. And so there's ways to work with all this and to not allow these events to anchor us into a life that isn't joyful, a life that can, they develop depression. And do we have to live in that space because of an event that happened 20 years ago? Grief too. Grief is another one. Unprocessed grief is another area where people get into a slump and it just progressively declines. And so grief is really a reflection of a deep love that you shared with someone in this existence. And so how can we reframe that to honor their presence in our life, to potentially say, maybe they're not here physically, but energetically, they still exist. And they're really in my realm all the time now. So it's about the reframe. It's about pushing through. It's letting go. Are you ready to let go?
That is very powerful. And it goes to tell you, well, it tells you a lot about how the human mind, given the conditions that it has, can cause suffering or can cause healing. And we see it out there, as, with clients, how powerful the mind is, where we allow ourselves that disease through belief systems that we had in the past. So that's very, very powerful. We can cause our own suffering in that sense, and we can cause our own healing as well. And that's very powerful how the mind works.
Absolutely. I often use the analogy of like forgiveness. So people carry grudges, right? Siblings who haven't talked for 20 years. They don't even remember why they're not talking. And then one day they wake up and it's like they have this epiphany, like, I miss my brother or I miss my sister and I want to connect with them. They choose to forgive. It's instantaneous. Letting go of 20 years of baggage, poof, gone. Release work is the same way. It's instantaneous. The unconscious mind, there is no space, no time in this area, this arena of quantum healing. And so it happens instantaneously. You simply have to say yes.
That is wonderful. When you mention quantum healing, what does that mean specifically for anyone who's not really aware of what quantum healing is or just quantum in general?
Yeah, so quantum, there's energetic fields around us. We are in a physical plane here in the 3D. We reside in this body. We have a mass, and there is a component of us that is energy. And this space is part of the laws of physics. It exists. It simply is, just like gravity. Whether we acknowledge it, whether we subscribe to it or not, it is a thing, and it is an energetic field. Our unconscious mind works in that field. So there is no space, there is no time. And when we choose to really dive into our healing work, a lot of it happens out in the quantum because we're inviting the unconscious mind to open up, to say yes, and to let go, to begin the healing, to begin the reframing, to accepting a new belief system. And it's super magical. A lot of it, for you logical thinkers, this is going to be a mind F, okay? Because you're going to want to have steps and categorize and itemize and go down the checklist because you're a logical thinker, and this stuff is instant. It's like spirituality. It's everywhere. It's within us. It's out here in our biofield. And so there fascinating work. There are more thought leaders who are teaching about this stuff. The Joe Dispenzas of the world. He's great. I'm actually working with someone here in Las Vegas. He is a mentor, a coach, a trainer. He is an OG back to like the Wayne Dyer days. He has been doing this for over 40 years in different capacities. His name is Dale Holloway. He's local to Las Vegas. He holds trainings. He is a master trainer and mystic, and he teaches about this stuff. He does a lot of brilliant work around the ego and how that ego really is a chameleon, how it serves to, it wants to keep us in survival mode, and we wind up sabotaging ourselves. So a lot of this is tied again into the emotional intelligence part. How do we master our emotions, our thoughts? When we can get to that space and understand how the unconscious and conscious brain works, we tap into an area where we really feel liberated, and it's easier to develop or create or understand our purpose, our why. And we take a different lane in life. It's like the superhighway. It's really cool. And it brings a lot of joy.
It is really cool. And
Yeah.
it's really fun to embrace our multidimensionality and, get out of our heads and our linear thinking and, just step out of that comfort zone a little bit and discover something new about yourself. Totally agree.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Del Holloway, yes, I follow his work. He's a great guy, and hopefully one
Yay.
day I'll have him on the show.
Oh, I'd love to make that introduction. And so, yes, that will happen.
Awesome, yes.
Mhm.
And as a Reiki master and practitioner, Michelle, how does energy healing complement the other therapeutic tools in your practice?
Again, right? So we're energetic beings, and to understand that we have these meridians or energy centers, those in the Reiki area, we call them chakras. Again, this is physics, it's energy work, it exists. Whether or not you believe in it doesn't matter. And so our energy systems can get clogged, and we find ourselves in these loops where I feel stuck. And so sometimes, we just need a clearing of these energy centers, and we can do that through meditation. I like to infuse my Reiki with shamanic drumming and medicine music. And so that feels really good as a modality for me to do clearing. And I really start from the bottom, working at the root chakra, this energy center that symbolizes our foundation, our safety, our basic needs are being met, and we start working our way up. And then we move to the sacral, which is just below the belly button. And this has to do with our creativity and our passion. And then right above the navel is our solar plexus. And this has to do with our confidence and how we show up in the world and risk taking. Then we come to our heart center. This is right the middle between the upper chakras and the lower. This is the balance. This is our soul's purpose. We are really meant to live from our heart space. It's pure and it's connection. And so opening this space up, a lot of people have their heart chakra closed. They have been hurt. They have been wounded, disappointed, rejected, and they just put up the wall of China and say, I'm not doing this anymore. It's too painful, right? The risk is too big. And yes, we're all humans and we're not perfect. And, a lot of the hurting that people do is unconscious because they're driven by a program where they were wounded. And so they're going to repeat what they've been taught. And a lot of this is stored unconsciously. And so clearing this space up to allow ourselves to connect once again. I'm glad the thumbs up went up. Somebody's saying, yes, tell them about the heart chakra. I think of Brene Brown, and she says we're wired for connection. It is the basic need of every man, woman, and child, quoting Brene. And so then we move up to our throat chakra, right? Are we able to speak from a place where we can express our needs, we can speak our truth, and do this in love? Do this from a space of compassion, right? Removing the judgment, removing the blaming. It's so super important to have our throat chakra open. It allows us to express and to communicate. And then we move up, of course, to our third eye, our intuition. This is where we get all our downloads, all the messages that are out in the field. We have antennas. Some of us stand tall with our antennas and we're like, hey, pick me, I'm right here, right? Get the information in, it's like our fingertips. And then our head chakra connected to divine source energy, to life source. And so this is proven by science. I'm not making this up. You can go and research that. And our center's cleared. And so Reiki provides an opportunity to clear out any gunk that may be lingering in our field. And again, it's not a one and done thing, because so long as we're having our human experience, we're going to get piled on with more junk. The beauty is understanding these tools, having them accessible. We don't have to stay in this state of being stuck, in this state of depression. These things don't have to define us any longer. We can almost perceive it from like a third party perspective and go, I see this is happening to me. I'm not going to get caught in this loop. What can I do to resolve this problem? How can I flow right through this? We're going to continually get life lessons, and we can move through them very gracefully. We can actually appreciate the lessons that are showing up. We can find joy once we resolve the things that we get to work on. And so again, different programming, different perspective. We're taught that life has to be hard, that you wear the stripes when you go through all the suffering, and even religion indoctrinates us to be martyrs, to take on the pain and suffering, to carry the cross. Who says? I'd rather live through life in flow, in ease, joyfully. I'll carry my float. I'll be on my canoe. Let's go downward. I don't want to be paddling upward, right? Put me on the downward stream. So again, these are all programs, things that, society have taught us to carry. And I think we get to a point where we have to start questioning the things that we think are truth. Is it my truth, or did someone program that into me? How do I feel about that? Do I really want to accept this anymore? These are questions that we get to ask ourselves. And so to be in these arenas, in these fields of transformational work, unconscious mind work, the NLP, again, it's the balance. I feel both are really necessary for our expansion.
Wonderful. Thank you for all of that. I'm sure someone out there got something from that for sure.
I know it's a lot, and I've been studying this over years, and we got to take it at bite-sized chunks, right? We'll only hear what our filter is going to grab.
Yes.
And so it's like reading a book or watching a movie. You've seen it 5 times, and every time you catch something new, right? Because we're filtering. And so, yes, this is a lot of information. To the viewers, take your time, be curious, find the teacher that's meant for you. A lot of this is available on YouTube, and just go down the rabbit hole and have fun doing it. And if it feels good in your body, then you're onto something.
Yes, I love that you said that, and you mentioned, have fun with it. It's important to have fun when you're learning something new, because again, that's just another way to welcome in a new information and integrating that information into your system. So yes, thank you for that. And you have a deep-rooted love for music. How has music influenced you? And how has that incorporated in your healing modalities?
Music is the universal language, right? Have you ever listened to music from another country? You just fall in love. You're like swept off your feet. Oh my gosh, music is so powerful. I have had the blessing of growing up in New York City. I am Latina, Boricua specifically, and music, it is from in utero that we are exposed to amazing Latin music. Our culture, we just live joyfully. A lot of our people are destitute, and they share the little that they have, and everything revolves around music, and it's alegría and pura vida, and it's a way of being. And so I don't know any other way. And so having music infused in our culture. In music plays while we're cleaning, music plays while we're cooking, music plays while we're reprimanding the children. Like it is just part of our being. And being from New York City and the Bronx specifically, there are a lot of musicians. And so, having the house jams, and next thing I know, there's a full salsa band. And this was happening every weekend in our family room and going till 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's invited, grandparents, parents, children, infants. I mean, it has been such a delight to have experienced live music really, 2 and 3 feet away from me, and for my ability to be curious and tinker with the cowbell, with all the toys, the bongos and the congas. It was just let's live life joyfully. So that's something that I've grown up in. I grew up in drum circles and in spiritual gatherings. And so this has been a lifelong tradition for me, and winded up getting into the music industry back in New York. I had a 15-year career in the business, and so grateful to have had that experience and to be exposed to so many genres and different types of musicians. I got to meet Ray Barretto. He's an amazing conga player, and some local bands. So I've always found that music has a way of uniting people. Music has a way of healing. You ever think about, like, sometimes, there's a particular song that reminds us of a relationship that we cherish. Maybe it's a song related to grandma. My grandfather played the guitar, and every Sunday morning he would literally walk around in his boxers with his guitar, and he would just serenade everybody in the household, and he just sang. And these were like some of my most comforting memories. And so bringing music now in a spiritual sense through sound healing is something that really inspires me to no end. And to see people receiving the music, which is very medicinal, very on purpose with spirituality and for moving energy, for transmuting energy, it is so, so powerful. It's so humbling. It is my most favorite modality. There is something that comes through my being. It is all channeled. I promise. People are like, can you do that again in a social setting? I'm like, heck no. I don't even know what happened. I have to watch the replay. I need to listen to your account of what happened, because I literally check out. And I am a vessel for medicine music, and there is something that takes over. It is a superpower of mine, and I am happy to share that, to inspire people, to shape energy, to bring emotions to the forefront where people can start tackling whatever's coming up for them, processing it, reframing it, getting you back on track, empowering you to live your best life. Music is so powerful, so powerful. I even use it with hospice patients that I sit with. I do 11th hour work, and they are in the process of transitioning, and I bring my instruments and my equipment, and there is something that happens to that spirit in that time of transition when I can offer both the Reiki and the sound.
That's beautiful. And thank you for the work that you're doing, especially in the hospice and elder community. That's really, really needed. And I bet it's very rewarding as well to experience. And I had the honor of experiencing some of your sound healing sessions, and they were incredible. They really are moving. I highly recommend anyone out there, if you're here locally in Las Vegas, check her out. She has some amazing sessions.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Let's talk a little bit about LV Yoga Therapy, or sorry, Las Vegas Yoga Therapy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we're LV Yoga Therapy on
yeah.
Instagram, and the company is Las Vegas Yoga Therapy. So I am co-founder with my business partner, Stephanie Jillian Hahn. And 3 years ago, we decided to come together, and it was such a magical match. Thank you, universe, for bringing us together. And Las Vegas Yoga Therapy is a mobile yoga studio. So anything to do with yoga therapy and the sound and transformational work through yoga therapy, we bring that to all the places. So we are like a production set ready to go, and plop in your living room, in your office space, at the library, at horse ranch, at a pool. I'm like, where else are we taking this to? Coming soon, the winery. And so we're bringing these modalities to the people because some people don't know where to find it. Some people don't want to go to a yoga studio. They're like, I don't want to be in there. I'm overweight. I don't want to wear that gear. I don't want to stand on my head. And that is not yoga. And so we're really educating on what yoga is. And there's so many arms to yoga and so many ways to utilize yoga therapy again to do your transformational work, to expand. And so we're super excited that the community has embraced us and that we're bringing these tools to businesses and to consumers. Super, super fun.
That's incredible. And I love the model of having a mobile yoga studio so you could go anywhere, you could travel. Where have you traveled to?
Let's see, we've done most of our work has happened in Las Vegas. And so we have assisted, we did a yoga therapy session for a dental practice. And that was kind of cool. We were like in their closet space. And we have free space in here. It was like a 6x6. Anyway, and we staggered lunches for them and got everybody to come in and receive sound and, to have the discussions around regulating the nervous system and what is stressful in their environment. The dentist showed up, the front office staff, the hygienists, and it was great because it brings team building to the staff. It allows them to see each other for their challenges. Oftentimes people are doing this at work, and when you can hear someone's challenge and where they're at, you develop some empathy. And you're like, oh wow, like okay, I didn't think of it that way. And so it opens the lines for communication. We have done this at a horse ranch, Horses for Hero. Shout out to you guys for bringing us in and allowing us to be a part of their equine assisted learning package. And so we've had Nellis Air Force Base come out. We've had Nevada Highway Patrol come out. There have been Vets in Recovery, Lionheart come out. And so we're able to bring these modalities in that open arena of being at a barn and horse ranch. Super, super powerful work. My business partner, Stephanie, she's certified to go into the schools and bring this to youth. So she enjoys working with the youth. There is not a place we can't take this to where I'm just going to put this out there. We're declaring we're going to be working with other first responders. So chipping away at meeting the right people to make that happen, to bring that to our first responders here in Las Vegas. Again, these tools allow us really to centralize our nervous system, to bring us back into a state of homeostasis because we are all out of whack, seriously. And so this is not a one size fits all. There's so many tools that can be offered. Breath work is something I don't even promote. I'm a breathwork facilitator. That is magical. And something as simple as that can regulate our nervous system. The sound healing, the yoga, different types of yoga, right? Kundalini, Yoga Nidra. There's just so many. Bhakti. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so, there's a lot for everybody, and people gravitate towards different things. And so that's where we want to educate. Find the things that are going to keep you pumped about wanting to do the work, that inspire you. And right now, we also have a partnership with Virgin Hotel and Casinos. And so we're at their spa and we're offering classes 7 days a week. So it's free to the hotel guests, and locals can pop in for $20 a class, which is very, very reasonable.
That's incredible. Yes, to be at a casino and to offer that to not only the residents there, but also any tourists that want to pop in and
Yeah.
and enjoy the wonderful sessions that you and Stephanie provide. That's great. And
Yeah, it's interesting with the classes at the Virgin, because either people are here socially and they're partying, and so when they come in, they're just like, I want to rest, right? I'm overdoing this whole nightlife thing. Or it's business professionals who are doing conventions and they're like nonstop, right? They're doing the conventions, then there's the networking, and then there's the after party, and they're like lacking sleep. They're like just completely lost. So they show up and they're like, oh, I need to fill my cup. Where am I? So we get to serve a lot of different people. It's great meeting all the tourists that come in from as far away as Asia and Australia and the UK. That's super fun.
That's amazing. And it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing to introduce that to everyone, whoever is called to it. Can you share a breakthrough story or a powerful transformation that you experienced or witnessed in the client that kind of stayed with you?
Yeah, there's a woman that I've worked with, and we've become really dear friends. She tragically lost her mom. Her mom was murdered here in Vegas, and it happened, I want to say about 20 years ago, actually made the news, and she was really numb. She was living life from a state of complete disconnection, kind of going through the motions. And between breath work, Reiki, and the sound healing after the third session, the first session, she had a huge breakthrough. But by the third, her life started to transform and back in her body, back in her feelings, her ability to emote, to really process the grief she thought she was processing, but it was more of a stoic kind of, I just got to live, right? On survival mode. Powerful, powerful story. She has been on a healing journey almost 2 years. She is a new person. She's a new person. She has joy in her life. She is able to hold on to dear memories of her mom and find all the moments that she really cherishes and the love that they shared, as opposed to having this horrific event that happened and having that define their relationship and how she remembered her mom. So that is probably that story. And there's a gentleman here in town that I've helped who became a heart transplant recipient, and his journey also very, very powerful. Someone who really faced his mortality over and over and over again. And working with this gentleman, there came a space where like he was waiting to get on the approved list for a transplant, and he was stuck doing all the right things, and he's attending these right circles, and he's doing all the things. And it hit me. I said, are you resentful of your heart for failing? Oof. That was like a ton of bricks that landed. He's like, yeah, I haven't spoken nice about my heart. I've identified it as this failing organ. Mm. I'm like, what if we got to love it? What if we got to give it gratitude and say thank you? And we started that process. A week later, he was approved to be placed on the list. And immediately after that, his heart came in. And this will happen within 2 weeks. And he's alive today. He's well. He's living joy, lives every moment, seizes every moment. And of course, right on his healing journey, he's got this new heart and his life has transformed. Yeah, powerful, powerful work. Our minds are so powerful and they really do create our reality.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. What advice would you give someone who feels called to begin their healing journey but doesn't know where to start?
I say be still. Oftentimes we're looking externally. We want to get ourselves into these arenas. We want everything to happen fast. Be still. Close your eyes, sit with yourself and ask yourself, what is it I'm seeking? And allow the information to come in. Where should I begin? Allow that information to, once you start putting those feelers out into the universe, you don't have to look. The people show up, the classes show up. It shows up on your damn YouTube feed.
Yes.
That part. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what message do I get to receive today? And then how can I bring this forward to the community I serve? I open my phone and I promise you, there it freaking is. And I'm like, dang, this is a good one. And so I allow my space in the morning to be still, to hear, to be in a space of gratitude. I get to walk this earth once again. I get to live my life on purpose and be of service to humanity. I can make a change in someone's life, even if it's only a smile, right? We think of all these things that they have to be so big. We never know how we're impacting another person, complimenting them, right? I love your hair color, great pants, or looking someone in the eye when you ask them, how are you? No, really, how are you? They can feel. Energy doesn't lie. So how are we showing up in our energetic being? This is how we change the world. Sure. And then we can, right? All these modalities are available to us. And I always say, be curious and naturally follow that impulse of what you feel in your body you are drawn to. Because our bodies are like magnets. They usually tell us, yeah, or like, hell no. Are we able to listen to our pendulum? That's the unconscious mind. And the information will begin to show itself. And this is a bite-sized chunk process. If all the healing in the world that we wanted to do happen in one sitting, we would probably die. It's too much to process. That's why it's a journey. And integration, right? You and I were chatting a little bit about integration before we got on the call. And so integration is key. Once the information is revealed to you, how can I turn this into a daily practice? After that, you embody it. Now it's like part of your lifestyle, part of your being, part of your living. Cool. Great. That's integration. It's when you're outside of the training. It's when you're off the massage table. It's when you're against the wall and life is happening, right? Life is lifing, I like to say. This is where we get to practice our integration. How do I take what I've learned? How do I take what I've healed? And how do I show up differently? Because it's about creating change. And this kind of change is transformation. It's deep work. And so if you're committed to that, then just know you're going to be on this journey. And some days will be easier than others. 100% today might look like 20%. I can barely get out of bed. I might just show up to work, maybe semi-unconscious. It's okay. It's okay. We love to beat ourselves up, right? So have grace, have compassion for yourself. The same that we would give to a stranger, turn that inward and say, okay, tomorrow, clean slate. I don't have to attach or bring anything from yesterday into today. Today might be 150% kind of day, and I'm on fire. Awesome. Celebrate that. And then find your community. We heal better in community. We heal better when we can surround ourselves with individuals who can support where we're at and understand the space that we're in. And so what happens in this arena is we start losing people because we're starting to move in a different direction and we're just vibrating at a different frequency. And so it's not uncommon for us to lose friendships, even family members. Now we're being judged by others. Oh, you think you're better. No, I'm just on a different frequency. You're maybe on the AM dial. I'm on FM. Come join me. Right. And as we walk through this progress and we're creating transformation, people will notice. And those who are attracted and maybe want some of what you got going on, and it's hard to pinpoint, it's hard to describe, but you'll hear stuff like, man, you've changed. Or when you walk in, like this, it's just so bright. You're just so joyful. Something's different. Like it can't be explained. That's transformation. And so we become, our light starts to expand. And those who are seeking that will see it and will be attracted to it. So I say we're responsible as we start learning modalities and adding tools to our tool belt. We are in a place of responsibility to share our tools and to do this with integrity, to be good leaders, to be heart-centered leaders. And so we bring one, right? And we create this ripple effect, the butterfly effect. And it's so beautiful. One by one, we can help each other in bringing in transformation. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So this is a great conversation. Love every single moment of it. And for all the viewers out there who are watching this, who are curious about everything that you do, Michelle, how can they find you? Where can they find your work?
So a lot of channels, right? There's a lot of tools. And first and foremost, LV Yoga Therapy on Instagram and Facebook. We have our website. You can check us out. We host a lot of events and come join us if you're here locally. We're really looking to expand and bring our content virtually. And so that's something that we're working on. And if you want to find me, I also have a website, michellecintron.com, on Instagram and Facebook. Either I am Michelle Cintron, and that's Michelle with 2 L's, or Mystic Topaz Sound Journey. So that would be Mystic _ Topaz _ Sound Journey. And we are also in the process of branding our corporate brand, which is Relaxation Station. So stay tuned for that. We want to bring this to the corporate arenas, to the organizations who want to create improvement in their companies and who want to embrace the philosophy that their company has a soul.
That is wonderful. I'll make sure to leave all of those links below so people can check them out. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. Before we go, what is one myth or myths about the work that you're doing that you want to debunk right now?
First is the yoga thing, that yoga is a pose. that I have to stand on my head or hold tree pose and hold my breath. We are debunking. Yoga is a philosophy, and there are many arms to yoga. So this physical component, which is very trending, and we've got all the beautiful bodies showing up in the great yoga gear, that is just one component of yoga. Yoga also teaches sound, teaches breath work, even teaches how to be a good human. Dive into yoga, listen to the teachings. There are many styles of yoga. And then some of these spiritual modalities that we do are woo-woo. And we're finding that the science is coming through and really backing up with the evidence-based practices of these components are really more than something that is hard to see and may or may not exist. There's a lot of science backing up what we are doing as Reiki practitioners. I know my Reiki is very honored in the hospice industry, and I'm able to sit with those who are transitioning and helping for that smooth process. So I just educate yourself, form your own opinion. Don't take what is being, even what I'm saying. Go educate yourself, be curious, and align yourself with the practices that you feel will support you in living your best life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And Michelle, if money were not an issue, what would you be doing right now?
Right now, I would be somewhere either in the mountains overlooking a lake or by the ocean side writing books. I am a poet. I've had my works co-authored in a couple of books, and I'm ready to write my own books now and wanting to create that time to do so. But I really see myself kind of isolated. I love to read. And I actually have my book right next to me. I was called The Poetess. Yeah, and it is the combined work of 21 poetess from around the world, ages 17 to 77. We have places such as Brazil, Spain, India, Nigeria, Philippines, Zimbabwe, Kenya, the UK, and US. And so I love writing. I do have a poetry page. It's called Michelle Cintron Poetry in Motion on Instagram. A lot of people don't know that this is one of my passions.
Well, they sure do now.
So thank you for allowing me. And let me tell you, you're not going to get Michelle the Sound Healer on my poetry page. This is very raw, authentic, vulnerable work. And I write about a lot of things, from sensuality to sexuality to dying to suicide, like the raw parts of what I have been able to see, to experience, to hear through other people's encounters. There is no filter there. And so I'll say this, there is some explicit content. And again, we're multi-dimensional beings. And so I embrace Michelle the poet, who can be that raw and unapologetically me. That is my outlet.
That's wonderful. I'm looking forward to read some of your work and check that side of you as well.
People are often shocked. They're like, oh, I didn't know she had that in her.
That's amazing. Michelle,
Yeah.
this is incredible. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for this conversation, for this energy exchange, and sharing your passion and sharing your wisdom to the world. This is great. And again, I'm going to make sure to put all of your links, including your poetry page, all down low so people can check them out and check out your links. So thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here on the Healing Lounge. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Healing Lounge. Thank you, Sergio. You too offer beautiful work in our community, and I'm honored to have been on the Healing Lounge with you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Yes. Until next time, feel free to check us out. Thank you. Thank you.